Hello and welcome to the Rugby Social. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and join us at the club. How's it going, mate?
It's very well, thank you. I'm going very well. How about you?
Yeah, pushing good.
That's good to hear. And how do you think Faz is going? He played for Saracens yesterday. How do you think he's doing?
Well, supposedly he's got a poorly head. No jokes meant to be intended there.
Okay.
Bad.
Concussion protocol thing, is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
I think he's obviously he's announced that he will be stepping down from England international duty. It's a big call, especially for a man who's as fierce and as competitive as him, who's seemingly, I think we all know, is probably constantly driving to be at the peak of athleticism and the peak of rugby accomplishments. So it's a big
rugby
call.
Leadership as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so I for me, and this isn't quite what you asked me, but I don't think this is that shocking.
Answer it anyway. You make up your own questions.
Go for it. Yeah. I don't think this is that shocking. I think it is, to see a man step down, but he's not doing it from an act of fear or an act of desperation. I think the lead up to this decision, with the likes of, he was one of the biggest factors. We got to the rugby semis and played so well, got third place in the tournament when we didn't even look like a shot again out of the group. A lot of people would have said.
I said as well, yeah.
He did. Yeah, he did.
I did.
I think the fact that, he's had these red cards, he's had all the media press, he's constantly pushed Saracens to achieve at the top limit. Without Saracens would have never got to, I don't think would have made the top 4 the last 2 seasons. He really is that changing player. Because Saracens look great. They haven't looked like a great club. I think they've looked competitive and elite in moments, but they haven't had greatness throughout.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is that shocking. And as you said, he's pushing to be a leader. I think this shows more leadership than like a lot of leading figures in the rugby world right now. I mean, I couldn't say more than someone like Khaleesi. He shows it on and off the field and for his nation. Yeah. He shows it in the
tunnel.
The tunnel. Thank you. In the tunnel. and I think this is showing huge leadership. So I don't think it's shocking. But yeah, obviously it's new territory for a man like him.
Yeah, you make a great point there, actually, because it is really courageous to do it. When you think about everything he epitomizes, to then go, actually, right now, for myself and my family, it's not good for me to continue to play international football. He probably could as well, couldn't he? He probably could play international football.
That's a bad slip up, that one. That one is a bad slip up.
International rugby football. Yeah.
First of the first episode of Rugby Podcast.
Yeah, please don't use the F word. Yeah. But yeah, it epitomizes how much courage the man has got and just what a great leader he is. And he looked pretty good for Saracens when he played against the Bulls. So I don't think there's too much going on physically with him. I think he's still a stand-up guy. But obviously, it's going to leave a massive hole. I mean, I know we both love Farrell, and there's a lot of people out there who are sort of find him a little bit Marmite and do and don't. But I just think people have just got to see what a massive hole it's going to leave. Not necessarily from just a fly half perspective, because England have got other decent fly halves, but from a leadership perspective.
Yeah, I was going to say, add on that, I feel, well, we've seen him play at number 12, and he's performed well. He's done his duty very highly, and we've slipped in forward, or we've slipped in Marcus once or twice in that position alongside him.
Oh yeah, more than once and twice.
Yeah. And it works, or it works to a point, But I agree. I think you can have either Marcus or Ford slip into that position. But I think it's particularly bad timing for England now, given the fact that Courtney's gone.
Indeed.
I don't think there is a natural leader, not in the sense of. I think someone like Dan Cole could be a leader. I think everyone would look at his history and his career and see a person they look up to. But I don't think there's someone who everyone wants to turn their focus towards in the squad currently.
Okay, interesting. I've made a little short list here of players I think for captains, right? And to your point, none of them you go, oh yeah, he would be a natural replacement for Farrell. But let me run my little list past you, and then let's see if there's anybody you want to add to that list, and maybe we can just knock them off, or talk them up. And then I've got a little surprise from left field, but I'm going to save that for the end. All right.
Ooh. Bottom of the Christmas stocking.
Bottom of the Christmas stocking. It's a teaser. So this is my short list, and some of them won't be valid, but we'll come on to why. So I think the 3 players who would be the most likely candidates: number 1, Tom Curry; number 2, Jamie George; number 3, Ellis Genge. Then I've got a little clump of could do the job. Perhaps
Hang on,
wouldn't fall so naturally.
Should we talk about those 3
okay.
quick?
Yeah.
Should you talk about,
okay, let's do that. So,
because Tom Curry can't say fit.
No, well, he's injured at the moment. So if we're talking about a captain just to replace Farrell for the Six Nations, assuming he comes back after the Six Nations, I think that immediately rules Curry out. I think he's the most natural candidate, but he's not available through fitness.
I would agree. He probably is the most natural. He's off. Jamie George. Yeah. I just don't think he's a leader. I think he's a top bloke, a geezer, but I don't think he's someone who is truly going to give fear to players when they're like not picking up their slack, and also be the heart of encouragement. I don't think I think people look up to him. I'm not trying to take away much from him here, actually, but it sounds like I am. I don't think he's the biggest figure in that team.
So 2 things I'd say there. He is pretty big. And number 2, I think he is like the social leader.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Give him the band.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just look at people's attributes and what they do well, and that's one of the things he does well. But yeah, I think he's the social leader. He kind of glues people together as a community, and that wouldn't necessarily make a good captain. And they'd miss that element that he brings to it then.
Yeah, he's got too much on his shoulders.
Yeah. And then the third one is his front row partner, sometimes, Ellis Genge.
I'm going to breeze past this one pretty quickly. No, it can't be Genge.
No?
He's not doing it for club. He hasn't really been doing it for country fully. And again,
are you talking about performance there? Not performing for club and country,
yeah. And I think he is a rallier. I think he gets troops going. But in a sense, I think you are looking, whoever becomes the captain for the Six Nations is effectively going to become co-captain and or captain after Farrell leaves. That is what's happening.
Or at least what should happen. That they should be trying to tee that up,
And
with the exception of Tom Curry, who might come in. Sorry, interrupting you there.
No. But it's a good point. It's exactly it, right? But so if Tom Curry's in there, you are teeing someone up, and I don't think Genge has the throttle. And I don't think it's like a Jamie George. I think he's a social leader, but I don't think he's like a hardcore speaking to Borthwick, discussing tactics, discussing the team, relying on that guy sort of leader. Well, I think Curry is. I think Curry's got that sort of slightly singular, almost from the outside, it seems a little bit kind of like brain fog guy, like where it's just straight ahead, just fog lights on, just like think about nothing else. Well, I feel like the other guys are always kind of like slightly floating around. They've got other people to talk about, the other things to do.
Right. Okay. So I'm just going to go against your thinking here with Genge for two reasons. Yeah.
Okay.
So from a captaincy point of view, he's obviously led Leicester to a Prem final and a Prem win, and he's been vice captain under 2 head coaches now. So I think he was the vice captain under Eddie, wasn't he? And I think he's also been vice captain along with Laws under Steve Borthwick. I take your point about he hasn't performed very well. I saw glimmers of him coming back to some form when Bristol played Gloucester last weekend. But let's do this. Out of those 3 players, if you could only choose from those 3 players, who would be your captain? And accepting you can't choose Curry because he's injured.
Genge. You'd pick Genge.
All right. Okay. So I think that's the
gun
right
to the
answer.
head situation there, I felt.
Yeah.
But again.
But I'm going to give you some more options now. Yeah. Genge is up there on the shelf.
That's exciting.
That is exciting. So
get me away from Genge. Put him over there.
He's over there. He's minding his own business, doing his stuff. Right. Next 3 players. Lewis Ludlam, who, whilst he hasn't been always a regular in the England side, he is at least a club captain at Saints. And whenever he does perform or gets to play for England, I always think he performs and gives 100% and really is normally one of the standout players just from an effort point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the experience of George Ford, who's up around 85 caps now, I think. And obviously a leader on the pitch when he's playing fly half.
That's a massive call, though.
Yeah. And then the final one I've got in this bucket is Danny Kerr. Because obviously Danny's been round the block multiple times. Never really been much of a captain for Quins, I don't think. I don't think he's ever performed that role, or once or twice. But I just think his experience and his enthusiasm and love for the game might carry through a Six Nations. So,
do you know what?
Debate those 3. Danny
is ringing bells for me.
Okay.
I'm loving the sound of that. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling. Yeah, no, I feel Ludlam isn't getting in the team, so he can't be captain. There are just better players in that position, and I think he is a great impact player. So he's not getting on. Sorry, the second choice was
Georgie Ford.
Georgie Ford. I feel, and this is less so a statement on George Ford's quality. I think this is more a statement of his heart and mental health. Can't pick him as captain, because you pick him as captain, the dude will get rocket fireworks up his ass, shooting him into the atmosphere. He'll be elated. And then what happens when Farrell comes back? Oh, he's 3rd choice fly half again.
Yeah.
Like it's abuse. It's almost borderline abuse. And as well, being at Borthwick, the guy who won him the league, he'll be like, "Father?" And he's going to get stomped down next tournament. Like, we've already got one guy stepping out for his own mental health. We can't have another.
Okay.
And I sound like I'm joking, but somewhat I mean that. Like, because
he'd be in the shadows again, wouldn't he?
You can't be like, "Hey, you're runner up, but we want you to be the front man," while the front man is taking a holiday. Like, and obviously that's a very controversial way of saying it, but that is kind of what's happening. And I think it's unfair to put that on George, because Georgie is a fantastic player, and in probably, I think, 80% of nations, he would be 1st choice fly half. Without any question.
Yeah.
But he just
quality player.
Yeah. And I also, maybe this is slightly going off topic here, and maybe we can come back to this topic, but I want to know what you think, who should actually be the fly half for the tournament.
Oh, I'm going to answer that one in a minute,
Yeah. And I think what I'm going to say would also be a bit of a heartbreak for Ford. So no.
All right, so you're ruling Ford out. Ford's out.
I want Ford protected. I want to protect Ford. No, I think Danny.
Okay.
Again, question whether he's going to be starting. Maybe he's vice captain. But I agree, he's got the determination, he's got the experience, he has been there enough. I also think he has worked to get back. He's proven himself to be the best.
Amazing.
And it's not, and obviously he wasn't Van der Poort, had to
Van Porfleet, maybe.
Yeah. We don't
Yeah.
need to know his name because we don't, he's not number one.
VP.
He's not
Yeah,
VP's not number one. So VP's been
he's not
moved
even
out.
number 5 in my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Same here.
Yeah.
But the fact that he still fought his way through, I think just it's a perfect choice for me. I think that because as well, it'll probably be Danny's last tournament or maybe second from last tournament. I think it's a really enriching and rewarding experience for him. He would work for it.
I think so.
He would work for it because he'd be like, "Oh my god, I missed the last tournament, World Cup. I've now got in the World Cup. I got to a semi. I won third, and now I get to captain this. I'm going to give everything." Because he also knows, as I said, last one.
Right. So that sounds like a bit of a ringing endorsement for Danny from you, then, yeah.
I'm ding 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 ding. So that's Danny for me. I think the last comment is, I feel that we just want someone to step in and hold the fort down whilst Farrell's away. I don't think we want anyone who's rocking the boat for Farrell, because I think once Farrell comes back, we have to decide whether he is there for the long term or because of this, he's now a backseat. But I don't think having someone come in and being the top dog again, I feel like that disrupts things and doesn't allow everything to have a natural decision be made fluidly.
Yeah, no, they were all great points, absolutely great points. I mean, the other thing with Danny Kerr, I mean, you're absolutely right, is tenacity to keep working and to keep getting back in the squad, no matter how many disappointments he's had over the years, is amazing. Also, I think he is a leader because he's willing to really push his point, which is one of the reasons why he dropped out of favour with Eddie, because he would actually question what Eddie was doing. And I think you're right, he is the perfect foil to fit in as I guess a make weight whilst Farrell's off. And we don't know if Farrell will ever properly come back. But I think, So of those three, I actually agree with you. So we've got a begrudging Ellis Genge that we agree with out of the top tier. We've then got a ringing endorsement for Danny Kerr in the second tier.
Ding a ding a ding a ding a ding a ding.
Have you got anybody else you want to throw their hats into the ring for this?
I don't think there's anyone else who could. You could argue a Toji, but I wouldn't put that argument out there.
No, I wouldn't. I deliberately left him on off my list.
Yeah, and it's only because I feel like keep him good at what he's good at. I don't want him to murky his water. Just be one of the best second rows there is out there, and that's it. Just keep plowing away.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, then. So before I ask you to make a decision between Ellis and Danny, let me throw my left field one in there.
Oh, we haven't had the left field.
We haven't had it yet.
Oh, this is exciting.
And this really throws the cat amongst the pigeon here, right? So before I tell you who the player is, who do you think over the last 2 to 3 to maybe 4 seasons, whilst playing in a relatively crap side, has been the standout scrum half in England?
You're not.
I might be.
You're not.
Who's in your mind?
Well, there's two. You're saying scrum half?
I'm saying it's a scrum half, yeah.
So I'm either thinking you're saying two individuals. Oh, I know who you're actually saying. I thought you were going to say Mitchell or Randall, but you're saying Spencer.
No, neither.
You're saying Spencer.
Saying Ben Spencer.
You're saying Spencer.
I'm saying Ben Spencer. And I'll tell you why. Because he has been absolutely consistent. Oh, he was consistent when he played at Saracens, and he's been consistent in a bad Bath team for like 4 years.
And he is shining now.
Yeah. His kicking game is great, which suits what Borthwick wants. His sniping game is great, and he's got real pace as well.
He is really young Danny, isn't he? He is young Danny Kerr.
He is young Danny, albeit he's not that young. I think he's in his 30s now. But also, he is club captain at Bath. So he's got the experience of being a captain. He's also got the experience of captaining quite a few big players. So if you think about Bath, although they've not performed over the last few years, they've always had a kind of killer squad, haven't they? Loads of big stars. He's captaining Finn Russell at the moment. So I just wonder whether there's a person to be considered in the mix. So what do you make of that then?
I think VP, I think Mitchell, and I think probably Kerr have to all be injured.
What, for him to get in the sky?
Yeah.
Forget what. Yeah.
I don't see
All
Borthwick
right, so
making the right call with the
yeah,
scrum half again.
no.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting the squad. I think he's quietly a great choice. I do agree, and I would put him over Genge
Mhm.
because
You
I
would.
think he has more traits that would suit England in their current position right now. Because I think Genge is very much like a warrior, like kind of
Mhm.
he'll really rally the troops together and gear them up. But if anything, I think we want to be calm and build right now. We don't want to be like pure aggressive animals. We're not like Ireland or France right now where we have some hurt in us because of the World Cup. We're quietly happy with what happened in the World Cup and we want to build. So we wanted someone who's going to quietly, slowly filter us upwards rather than
Mhm.
someone who's going to be like, just get all that kind of brittle burn and hurt out of us and just bring it into every game and dog it out. So
Yeah.
I realistically, it ain't happening, mate. It ain't
No.
happening.
I think it
But
should happen, but yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Borthwick is missing a trick there because he has just been on fire.
if he doesn't look at him this Six Nations, he's never looking at him.
Yeah, he's going to time out age wise, isn't he?
And especially, and this could be a good segue, especially with the fact that he is doing some beautiful link up work with the likes of, nearly said Hodge, Finn Russell, nearly
Both
said.
Scottish, close enough. Yeah.
Oh well, no, I was literally going to say I think there's some beautiful link up play between them, and I think that
Yeah.
who is a similar player as Finn Russell, not completely but similar. And I think there could be some beautiful link up play between Ben and Marcus.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah,
That is a good thought. So let's talk fly halves in a minute, right? Let's sort out this England captain.
I want it now, man.
You can't have it now. You have to be patient. You have to be patient, like when you're watching England. Give it 8, 10, 12 games. It will come right eventually. So you're ruling out my left field option of Ben Spencer. So we're back down to Danny Kerr or Ellis Genge. And you've got to pick a player right now, and you've got to pick 2 vice captains. Who are you going for?
2 vice cap. I'm going Danny,
Yeah.
and I'm picking Tom.
Danny
and
as
Genge.
captain, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so Tom again. So you can't have Tom because he's injured. I'm talking about the Six Nations here. So Danny as captain, Genge as vice captain. Who's your other vice captain?
Can I not?
Can you not? I suppose. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about opinion. You don't have to.
I don't. I wouldn't want anyone else getting their mitts on it.
Okay.
I think that's a nice balance between the two.
All right. I'm going to give you an alternative view now. Yeah.
Right.
I'm locked in with you, Danny Kerr as captain. Hopefully, he'd be made up by that as well. That people out there think he should be the captain. And I guess it'd be really interesting to see if people actually think we're right, or whether there's people we haven't thought about who should be on this list, and they can tell us we're absolutely wrong. Because we can be from time to time.
Leave us some comments in the bottom and tell you what.
Yeah, tell us what crap we're talking.
Yeah.
So Danny is the captain. I think Ellis Genge has to be a vice captain for a continuity point of view. And then I'm torn between Jamie George or George Ford, because I want a player with George in their name to be another vice captain. It is a joke. That's obviously gone over your head.
Yeah. No. It's St. George, very English.
Yeah.
Leave a comment about how funny that comment was.
So I would probably towards Jamie George. However, you asked me a few minutes ago who would be my England fly half. And I would pick George Ford over Marcus. And if Ford is playing and he's in that fly half role, error. Well, you tell me how big that error is in a minute. But if he is playing and he's in that fly half role, then I think naturally he becomes a vice captain because it's an absolute out and out leadership role, isn't it?
To be honest, absolutely agree with that point. Couldn't agree with that point more. If he's on the pitch, he should be a vice captain. I agree, but no, he's not going to be on the pitch. Let me correct myself. He will be. Borthwick will pick him, but I don't think Borthwick should.
So
And the
you want a
reason,
bit of free. Go on. You're about to explain why before I ask you.
well, no, well, you free play. Is that what you're going to say?
You want a free flowing, broken field runner, little bit of magic rather than the sort of more formulaic game. Yeah.
I think we have 2 points here, and I also think the 2 points I make go against what will happen because I think Borthwick won't want the two things I'm suggesting. I think we should build for the future, and I think Marcus is the future fly half because Ford and Farrell are about the same age. When Farrell does retire, or if he doesn't return, I think it's the same time as Ford will be doing the same.
Yeah.
So I think we have to kind of look and begin to build. And if we're going to build, we should build now for the next 4 years. And the next 4 years is Marcus. And I feel that Borthwick's pretty committed to Stewart at the fly half, fullback. And I feel from that, he also will probably be the first choice in the next 4 years for Australia. We need to put our best foot forward and we need to think for the future. We need to not think about the results now. We need to think about the team we want to be in 4 years' time. And I think that's with Marcus. And I think we need to start building around that style of play. And again, I don't think Borthwick will because he's very formulaic, but I think we need a bit of a fireball. And I think the other thing is Marcus is very, very hungry. The tenacity he had against Fiji, I think it's something we need to implement in our team. We need formulaic, but we need tenacity. And the flip side
he and
point,
Kerr both bought that, didn't they? Yeah.
Absolutely, they were ferocious. They just both of them weren't they? Little Jack Russells the whole game.
Yeah, they were.
So the flip point
yeah,
I love Ford. I absolutely love Ford. I think he is like English fly half royalty. I think he is pure class traditionist fly half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why has he never got in the squad?
Because Farrell's always been better. Because Farrell's that bit better.
That, and because that's not the game anymore. You can connect the dots all you want, but that's not the way the game is played anymore. And I want it to be, and I think we would be really beautiful if it did. But when you're playing against the best, someone like South Africa, New Zealand, France, Ireland, their games are so dynamic, their games are so layered, their games are so free moving, and your role is only your role within its position, but it's not within your responsibility.
Oh, I didn't understand that. Go for that again.
If you're a fly half, or a flanker, your position is a flanker, but then your responsibilities on the pitch aren't just to be a flanker. You're so diverse now that you've got to get in the back line. You've got to be moving out. You've got to be calling the backs to forwards. Everyone's so textured in their movements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
I feel Ford is so solid at what he does, but he isn't as textured and as layered. And as he isn't going to be doing the massive tackles like Faz is. He isn't going to be the nippy fly half that Smith is. And I just feel that he hasn't got into any England squad net before. I don't think he should be doing it now. And I don't think he will. I feel...
Interesting.
I just feel it's not that I don't think he's quite a good enough player. Like I said, I think in 80% of other international countries, he would get first fly half. He is an amazing player. But we need to start thinking more long term. And I think that is Smith. And I think we have to mould our game to Smith and we have to mould Smith to our game. Because in a minute, he is the fireball because he's kind of just there with talent and we just kind of throw him in the dog pen and see how he does.
So to that point then, if we're going to look to the future, we've obviously picked Danny Kerr as the captain for the Six Nations, but that has got to be a temporary thing with a view to Tom Curry as soon as he's fit then, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. As I said, this is a segue. This is while Tom's injured. He's probably getting his feet a little bit back together. This is while Faz figures out what he's doing. He can also probably pass on elements of his game or his leadership to other people. But I think right now we just want a hard, solid post, which we can build off of this tournament and think about the next three and then Australia.
Sounds good to me, mate. Well, hopefully Steve is listening to this. Hopefully he's paying attention. Hopefully he's going
First
to take
viewer,
some of
Steve.
these ideas on board. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. And actually, just going back to Mr. Owen Farrell for a moment, you had a lovely theory you were telling me about the other week as to why you think he might have come out of the Six Nations. Do
Yes.
you want to share that more widely? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel. Oh well, yeah. I was speaking with you, and
In a safe space.
yeah, and as I was saying, I didn't feel as surprised as maybe the media made out or other individuals had let on. Because I think he is. I think honestly, perhaps he's one of the greatest English/stroke British athletes ever. Like, through all of our sporting legacy and history between all different sports, I truly think he could be within the shout of the top 10, top 5 because he's how long he's been in the game, how much he's done in the game, how much he's done in the club level, how much he's pushed the country and become such like the significant figure for the international level for just not just our country but also the globe for more than a decade now. I feel his what am I trying to say? His goals to strive seem endless.
Yeah.
The fact that he stepped down, I don't think he's stepping down just because I think he is because of his mental health. I don't try to deny that. I think the likes of being booed by his own fans is very detrimental.
Pretty grim, isn't it? Pretty
yeah,
grim.
And I think as well, he's a competitive man and he knows boundaries and respect. And I think he would have been like, I'm not being respected. I'm not being cherished. I can't give. I got these lot because he would have been big factor. He dragged them there. I got these guys to third. We're not getting better than third right now. Arguably, we shouldn't have got third. I think he is stepping down because he's realigning his focus, and I think he wants to prove to everyone that he is the best, and he can't do it with England. So how does he do it? He does it with Saracens by winning Europe, and I think he's pulling out to try and win Europe and focus his aims on domestically and across Europe and internationally, I suppose, in a sense as well, because of South African clubs and just the sheer dominance of and love for the competition. He's proven himself where he can win it and can be deemed it. And I think as well, it's the whole love story of the Saracens being relegated, coming back, losing out on the last kick of the game for the first season, winning the league the next season, and then winning Europe and proving we're not just a team that had years of dominance. We're a team that went down and come back up.
Yeah. Yeah. So interestingly, you're the only person I've heard talk about anything to do with Farrell. One of the reasons for stepping back is to help step forward in another area. The other thing, what you were saying about him being perhaps one of the top 5 or top 10 UK, British, English athletes ever, Jamie George was saying something similar. I heard him have an interview, I think it was with Big Jim, and he was saying something very similar. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
Only a short little clip, about 3 or 4 minutes, worth a listen though.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's a fascinating scenario you're laying out there. And I'm going to ask you a question now. Do you think Saracens can win the European Champions Cup this season?
I think they will. I think they'll give more blood for this year, but I don't think they'll do it this year. I think we have a squad. We have such a fresh squad that I think there's some really raw talent there and have some great years ahead of them. I just don't think they're ready yet. And I think go on.
I was going to say, that's really interesting because for me, the squad is kind of split between there's some very old players in there. There's like 5 or 6 key players are all in their sort of early to mid 30s now. And then there's another half which are young players. So it's trying to find that balance point where the old players aren't too old and the young players have had enough experience to kind of compete and actually do it. But I'm with you. I don't see Saracens winning it this season. I really don't.
I think they did. I was going to say, I think off the back of a World Cup, you don't have real training time for the new lads to come in and understand each other's game. I think that's why we had a really bad start to the season and pre-season. That I don't think the likes of a teams like, maybe I'm jumping ahead of you here, the likes of the teams,
I think you
obviously
might be.
like La Rochelle, the teams like Toulouse.
Well, hold that thought for a minute, because I'm going to ask you about that. So,
whoops.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So we're talking about European Champions Cup then. So they've changed the format again this year, I think slightly for the better. So instead of 2 massive groups of teams of 12, we've got 4 pools of 6 teams. Within those pools of 6 teams, there are basically 2 teams from each league. And basically every club will play 2 teams at home, 2 teams away, but they won't play the team that's in their club. And then that will be the sort of pool standings will come from there.
Won't play a team against in their club?
No, in their league. So if you look at the league that Bath are in, for example, they've got Toulouse, Harlequins, Racing, Ulster and Cardiff. They'll play all of those other teams except Harlequins because they're in the same league as them.
Yep.
And likewise, Racing won't play Toulouse because they're in the same league. And essentially the top 4 teams in each league will then go through to a top 16 round. But the top 2 teams in each league will get home ties. The bottom teams will get away ties. And then I think that home advantage carries on through to the quarters. In the semis, it's home country advantage, depending on who was ranked highest. And then the finals, obviously, at Tottenham's ground, which is an amazing ground. It really is a little treat to go there.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get tickets for just
we do
regardless. Regardless.
Yes, definitely. Right, so it's so near, and what a competition it is. Whoever plays in it, it's always amazing.
Yeah.
So going back to the bit where you were like trying to jump ahead earlier without like going through the actual diligence of the conversation. Yeah, that's okay. So let's pick, let's say 3 or 4 teams we think can win it, and let's do it country by country to start with. So obviously Italy have no teams in this competition because they don't finish high enough up in the United Rugby Championship to qualify. Let's go Wales next. Can you see any Welsh teams winning this? And your choices are?
Choices are none.
No, there are a couple. You have got Cardiff, and you have got, I think it might just be Cardiff, actually. Yeah, I think you've got... Yeah, I think you're limited to Cardiff here.
Can I go back to my original answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Which is no. None.
No.
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, Cardiff got absolutely battered at the weekend as well. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
They lost about 50 odd points, didn't they? All right. So we're ruling out Italy. We're ruling out Wales. What about Scotland? Because I think we've got at least Glasgow in there. Anyway, they're playing well this season so far.
I don't see Glasgow getting past the quarters. I think they are playing well, and I do have a bit of hope for them for the league, but I don't think they'll have the dynamism, and I don't think they'll have the wealth of experience for competing with the likes of the South African teams or the French teams right now. I think they just have. This is the first year I think Glasgow probably built some good momentum and really look like they may be able to peak out ahead of the pack in front of everyone else in the league. Where before I think they're kind of like they're up there. They've looked good, but I think they might almost be peaking this year, looking like they are heading shoulders, not head and shoulders, just maybe
just
eyebrows
just the
and
top
forehead.
of the hairline.
Yeah, above everyone else. Yeah. But I don't think that it'll be there. Yeah, I think the quarters will be as far as they go.
No, fair play. I mean, they're second in the URC at the moment. I know we're only a few games in, and I think they were the runners-up, weren't they, in the Challenge Cup last season? So, but I'm with you. I don't think we'll see a Scottish side get into even the final of the European Champions Cup. So
I mean, it'll be a beautiful day when a team doesn't win the final of the Challenge Cup, and then next year goes and wins the final.
That would be,
that'd be a beautiful day.
But I don't think we're going to see it this season. So then let's go to the next weakest nation. or next strongest nation, whichever way you want to look at it. So if not Saracens, any other clubs from England getting up there, competing, winning?
So who do we have? We have Northampton,
So
Saracens.
you got Leicester Sale, you got Bristol Saracens, Bath Quins, Saints and Exeter.
Quite the pool. I don't see any of them getting past the quarters as well, if I'm honest.
Nobody getting into the semis. Yeah.
I think Exeter just are too wobbly. I think they're still discovering their game. They may be able to kick it on the back end of the season, but I don't think they'll be strong enough. Harlequins, I think they should just focus on the league. They probably have a good chance of getting top 4. Bristol, let's just hope they.
And with Danny playing as England captain, obviously he's going to be focused elsewhere. He just won't have time for Europe, will he? Yeah.
No. Yeah. Mark has been fly half for choice. It's a lot going on. I think Bristol need to focus just on getting a string of wins.
Stop being shit.
Yeah. And then from there, I don't think Saracens have the legs, like I was saying before. I just don't think they have the cohesive playing style yet. I think they probably look the most dynamic they have for a couple of years. But I think they just need another year to really nail that to be able to be a European standard.
Yeah.
I think probably our best bet is, do you know what? Honestly, I can see Northampton sneaking a semi. I could see Northampton sneaking a semi. They won't.
Little tick by them. But they're your outside bet then.
They're my outside bet. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, the power shift there. They'll be loving that. I mean, they did beat Saracens, didn't they, the other week? And they are playing some nice rugby. They've shored up their defence a little bit. I'm not sure I agree with you. I couldn't see them getting through to a semi. I could possibly see Sale getting through to a semi, just because they play quite a powerful brand of rugby, which might match up well against some of those bigger forward packs in other countries. So they would be my outside bet. And I guess you've always got to give Saracens a little sniff of a chance, haven't you? I don't think they'll win it. I really don't. But I think if they can get a home top 16 place, that could ride them through to at least the semis.
Yeah.
And what an opportunity for any English clubs to have the final at Tottenham. It's a bit like the old Leinster thing last season, isn't it? Where quarterfinal or 16 quarterfinal, semi, and final were all in Dublin. So it's a bit of a chance there. So let's move on.
I don't think it's not very convincing, that argument.
Well, because they lost.
The best team in Europe had every opportunity to win, and we're up by 17 points at half time. Still stuffed it. Yeah, I think you tried to go this way, but you did go the other way now with that argument.
Yeah, I've argued against myself. So, let's focus on our Irish friends. So we got Leinster, we have got Connacht, we have got Ulster, and we have got Munster. Anybody making it free for you?
Let's just start with the 3 outside Irish teams there. Obviously not Leinster. Connacht, Ulster, and Munster. I don't think they've looked at it this year. Ulster haven't.
No, Ulster have been up and down.
Munster have looked all right.
Don't forget what they did last season.
I know, but I don't see them doing that in Europe. I don't see them doing that against South African and
French. Yeah, because they did it against South African teams last season.
Yeah, but if you're playing back-to-back games, again, and you're traveling,
which they did last season. Well, I'll tell you. So who's in the Munster group? You got Saints, who is your outside bet, Exeter, Bayonne, Toulon, and Glasgow. So not an easy group. I
think it really is either Munster or Glasgow going that second position.
Okay.
I think Northampton will get top.
Wow. And they are top at the moment after the first. Not all the games have been played yet, but they are top at the moment. All right, so you're ruling out Munster, you're ruling out Connacht, you're ruling out Ulster. Does that mean you're ruling in?
Leinster will get a semi.
Leinster will get a semi.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give a little tick to Leinster. I fancy Munster. I do. I think there's some real tenacity there. And off the back of what they did last season, I think that will give them a huge amount of belief. Leinster, I'm not so sure about. This is a real transitional year for them, isn't it? no Sexton, and just changing coaching. I mean, they're still running away with the URC at the moment. They're still top.
That doesn't mean
I have
anything.
to confess to, well, I was going to say, I have to confess to, quite often when I see their team, I don't know a lot of the players, and that might be my ignorance rather than anything else. But, all right, so I'll tell you who we've got ticks by so far. And we don't necessarily agree on these ticks for like semi-final places. Leinster, Sale, Saints, and Munster. And I'm going to put another little tick by Saracens. A little obligatory. They've been European champion 3 times in the last 10 years.
And Farrell's left England for Europe.
According to your theory, yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the powerhouses. France. So in Group 1, we've still got South Africa to go as well, haven't we? So Group 1, you've got Bordeaux or Lyon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fancy either of those two?
No.
But Bordeaux, good side.
I think Bordeaux could do it, but I don't think they will.
All right. I mean, they got Damien Penaud now, and he's a hell of a player. I'm with you, though. I don't think there's enough history there and know-how for them to win it.
Yeah. I think the competition as well, it's so much bigger, and there's so many more big teams where you really have to stick out to be a club that hasn't won it before. I don't think the likes. Let me put it this way: I don't think the likes of a team like Exeter who have been building for about 5 years before they won it, and then they had that peak season when they won the league and Europe. I just don't see a team being able to do that as easy as they did. Not that Exeter did it easily. It made it easier when Saracens got relegated, but I don't see that happening, especially in the French league, where I would say it's very chop and changey, but it's different with Europe. I think that you really have to have some solid footing to put your head out there in Europe.
I agree. So let's talk about 2 clubs with solid footing: Toulouse and Racing in Group 2, along with Bath, Quins, Ulster, and Cardiff.
I think those 2 are semis. I think that those 2 are the most locked-on semis I think are happening.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think they're both looking in fine. I mean, actually, Toulouse aren't looking that great at the minute, but they will come good just because of the quality of the players. Yeah. Racing is sitting at the top of the pro top 14.
They look amazing.
Interestingly,
right now.
There's about 8 or 9 clubs in that league who are all within a few points of each other. So it's real choppy changey in the top 14 at the minute. Group 3, we have got Bayonne and Toulon.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything from those. They're linked with Sinclair. Yeah, you're not winning anything when you're linked to Sinclair.
Or Sinclair. Yeah, either player. Neither one's good. And then we've got the crazy group, Group 4, where from a French point of view, we've got La Rochelle and Stade Francais in there.
I think, again, I don't see semis coming their way.
What, La Rochelle?
La Rochelle. For some reason,
what the hell did you think I said?
I thought you said Leon. Yes. Are we really saying 3 French teams for the semi? God, that's miserable, isn't it?
No, you're saying that.
Yeah, I am. I think I am.
But we have ticked about 10 teams so far who are going to make the semi, so we're going to have to whittle this down in a second. Stade Francais, I think it's too soon. I don't think... I can't see him doing it.
No.
All right, and then we've got a couple of South African teams. We have got Bulls and Stormers, I think. Is that it?
I think Bulls could do it.
I think Bulls could do it as well. Yeah, Bulls and Stormers are the only 2 South African teams.
I don't think Stormers will do it. I think they're a bit too shaky, and I think they've lost some good talent.
Right, I'm going to read you back the list, right? We're going to have to get this down.
Oh.
We're going to have to get this down to 4 teams, all right? And then we will talk about it again in maybe a month or 2's time once it gets a little bit tighter. So at the moment, possible semi-finals, we've got Bulls, we've got Saracens, we've got Toulouse, we've got Racing, we've got Saints, we've got Munster, La Rochelle, Leinster and Sale. I think we can rule a few of those out already. I think let's rule Saints out.
It makes it so much clearer.
Yeah.
When you have this. Yeah, Saints can be removed. I think Glasgow can be removed.
We never ticked Glasgow in the end, I don't think.
Well,
probably should have, but I didn't.
yeah.
But they're removed now. It doesn't matter. I think we Sales are goners.
Yeah, I think Sales are gone. Yeah. I think Saracens have gone.
All right, I accept that. I just ticked it for old time's sake. So now we are left with Toulouse, Racing, Munster, La Rochelle, or Leinster. So which one of those clubs is not going to be in the reckoning? I think it's got to be a toss-up between the two Irish clubs.
I was completely agreeing. We can't say the same teams though. That's very boring.
Well, I see Munster doing it over Leinster.
You have Munster, I have Leinster.
All right.
God, 3 French teams.
Well, the French is where it's at, isn't it? Well,
no, actually, no. I see the Bulls getting to the semis. What am I talking about? The Bulls are going to get the semis.
So Bulls. So we got Bulls, Toulon, Racing. We've got too many teams. We got 5 teams still.
Okay, all right. For me,
it's a good job we're not organising the Champions Cup, isn't it? You're all winners. Right. So Bulls is nailed on.
Bulls is a yes. I'll go for it.
Okay.
Bulls, La Rochelle.
Yes.
I see Racing. Pardon.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Toulouse?
Or it's Toulouse or Munster.
Okay, you have to get rid of one of them.
I actually am going to go back on what I said previously. I'm going to say Munster.
Oh, so Toulouse not for you then, yeah?
Yeah, Toulouse not for me.
All right, so I'm going to capture this because this will be fun to laugh about in a few weeks' time or a few months' time, yeah? So you've gone semi-finals are Bulls, Racing, La Rochelle, and Munster. Oh, you have changed your bloody mind, haven't you? Because you were Leinster a minute ago. And I am going to go...
Not me.
Bull. You did say Leinster over Munster. I'm going to go Bulls, La Rochelle, Toulouse, and Munster. So we've got a little bit of overlap there. Right,
3 out of 4 is a lot of overlap.
Yeah. And again, it would be interesting to hear what other people think, whether we're way, way, way wide of the mark, whether there's somebody out there rooting for Cardiff or somebody thinking that Leon are going to really do it this time.
Wake up.
It was a poor start for Cardiff, but they can only build from here.
Yeah. The last 10 years hasn't been down. It's been always up.
Right.
And we'll just keep climbing.
No, that has been good fun. And I reckon we should wrap it there for today and maybe talk Challenge Cup if anybody gives a toss soon.
There will be some. But there will be some. Few. There will be few.
Excellent. Right. Let's wrap it there. I've enjoyed this conversation. I guess if other people have enjoyed it, feel free to give us a bit of support. Give us a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, and there'll be more rugby banter next week.
Fluid. So fluid that.
Fluid. Thank you. All right. See you later.